This episode of Unchained Voices contains sensitive adult subject matter from the very beginning.
When I went to the church, I went outside to have a fag, and the lady said to me, Christians don't smoke cigarettes. So in my head, I'm thinking I'm a heroin, crack addict, thief and a prostitute, and you're worried about a fag.
A cigarette.
I could get on with the prison, could get on with an institution, but a loving home, hang on. What's going on?
Yeah.
Even when I went to the church, I thought, why are they talking to me? It takes time for somebody to feel safe. Why are they wearing their boots in bed so that they can run if the abuser comes through the door? We've had a lady that was vomiting in a bag and hiding it in a wardrobe, right? But we call it success, vomit in the toilet. We say that the secrets keep you sick and they grow in the dark.
What's good, peoples? It's your girl, Lady Unchained, and this is the Unchained Voices podcast. Here, we're going to be talking all things creative and, of course, talk about the criminal justice system. So, guys, today, my first guest is Mandy, an activist fighting for women's rights and women's safety, especially after coming out of prison. She is the founder and CEO of Treasures Foundation, and it's an incredible charity. Guys, I just have to give you a heads up. This episode does contain a lot of conversations regarding self-harm, prostitution, addiction. And guys, if you have any issues with these subjects, please take care of yourself and look after each other. Listen with support and advice. So Mandy's going to be touching on a lot of issues about women after prison, but also during their time in prison. We want you to listen very carefully, and we really hope you enjoy it. Please share, like, and subscribe if you want to, but you should. All right, guys, let's get into the episode. Mandy, hello and welcome to Unchained Voices. Thank you for coming on.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Obviously, we're going to go into some conversations and just like talk about what we do, what we've done, but just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a bit of your background story.
I kind of like the sound of the unchained voices because, like, sometimes as women, we don't realise how chained up we are until we start to explore and go through the process.
Exactly.
If we're in a safe place to go through that process. Because even now, I'm like 25 years off drugs, 25 years away from crime, and I'm still being unchained, if that makes sense.
Yeah, through the conversations.
Absolutely. And I'm really, and that's what excites me now. Whereas years ago it would have been something, what is hidden? I don't want to know. I'd be on the run, running my whole life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But
the
now,
mask.
now I want to know.
I want to know more.
I want to know. And
I want our viewers to know more about you and the work you do because, I mean, obviously I know the work you do, but I want them to know why you do that work and why it's important to you, but also why it's important for the general public to somehow get involved and support it.
Yeah.
So talk to us. Just give us a little background about you. Obviously, we've touched on a little bit of the unchaining ourselves from our past, but tell us, who are you? You know, what do you do?
Yeah, who am I? To be fair, like years ago, I would have been the daughter of a prostitute, drug addict, and, you know, like looked upon like that. Or so-and-so's sister, because my dad run gambling houses, so so-and-so's daughter, but never who am I? Who's Mandy? And that's a journey that I've been on unravelling. It's like I'm coming from like 2 generations of prostitution for a start, right?
Yeah.
Which I didn't know.
Yeah.
even though I was in it, I wasn't aware of it because when you're born into something, you're not necessarily aware. It's just something that is.
Yeah, because we don't ask to be born. We're just born. And whatever family we're born into is whatever family we're born into.
Absolutely.
And that's just that.
Absolutely. So it's like a lot of chaos and stuff. And my mum was an alcoholic addict and I became a drug addict. I was on heroin and crack for 20 years and in and out of Holloway prison, obviously, to doing crime every year, in, out, going through that revolving door. But the crazy thing is, I didn't even know about the trauma, sexual abuse, my childhood trauma, while I was going in and out. You know, like my sister remembered everything from the sexual trauma as children.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember nothing. So I'm just running on this thing inside me that was coming out in a very destructive way, but I didn't know what it was. Do you know what I mean?
Back and forth and it's crazy because like a lot of people would like to think, well, like they go in and out of jail, like why do they keep going back there? But you know, you're literally saying you was going through stuff, things that had already happened to you. You weren't aware in regards to like your mind said, nope, but you're going in and out of this place that is apparently meant to help you, by the way, understand some of these traumas that we're speaking about, but yet not actually getting to that point. So obviously, I want to know, when was it? When was it that you said, or when you realized, actually, this is what I've been running from and this is what I have to address?
I think I was 40. I was 40, I came out of Holloway prison and I found faith, to be fair, but I didn't know I was going to find faith. Come out of prison and gone down King's Cross to go and score and get a bit of gear. And I see somebody that looks really healthy and well and thought, how is he down here looking like that and still taking drugs? So I've gone over to him and I said, bring me in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm wanting to know, what's he doing? And you know, he just came out with his faith. He just said, Jesus. I thought, what's the matter with this man? So I thought he was robbing the church, seriously.
Oh, God.
No, seriously. So I went along to the church to see what he was doing, right, which obviously he wasn't doing anything, but I thought he was robbing the church. And these people were coming up to me, being really nice. And I'm thinking, what's their problem?
What's the catch?
Yeah, what, think you can rob me?
You can rob me? Like, do you know who I am? Like, do you know what I know?
And that's where my journey started, to be fair.
Crazy. Mandy said, I was going in there, I thought he was trying to rob the church. Bring me in.
Yeah. Well, that's
Make
what
some money.
Yeah, if somebody mentioned, because I'm coming from a place like, I'm not religion or anything like that.
Yeah.
So if anybody mentioned like the word God or Jesus, I just think church, money.
Yeah.
Because that's all I looked at, the church, that they rob people. Because I think that they've got these big buildings, do you know what I mean? There's so much poverty, you know, and I think, well, what do they do? And I was thinking, you've got to be a certain way. Because even when I went to the church, I went outside to have a fag, and the lady said to me, Christians don't smoke cigarettes. So in my head, I'm thinking I'm a heroin, crack addict, thief and a prostitute, and you're worried about a fag.
My cigarette. You're worried about the cigarette.
Do you get me?
Do you know what I come from? Like, you're worried about this one cigarette? Interesting.
Yeah. And
crazy.
That's it, you see. It's people, you know, sometimes I think like we're in boxes and have to conform to certain patterns. And I mean, like we do conform to certain patterns and behaviours to fit in.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
I love that faith is that kind of like the leading journey to this conversation, because obviously for me as well, finding faith in prison, obviously I had a lot of faith. I grew up like, we prayed all the time at home. So refinding faith in prison is one of the reasons why I personally think I'm sitting here today, because of that, having that connection to something other than those walls, if that makes sense. So obviously you met this guy that wasn't robbing the church. How did we, because obviously we've got to talk about the Treasures Foundation and how that came about. So from that journey, from that conversation, you know, seeing this guy that is in this area that you're thinking, how do you look like this? And, you know, how did we get to Treasures Foundation?
I'll tell you how we got to Treasures, right? Because like the church that I went to, it was like Victory Outreach, and it was like a lot of drug addicts and the founders and all that kind of stuff. So the word treasures, it came like treasures out of darkness, right? The founder of this church, like treasures out of darkness. And treasures out of darkness was we used to go out on the streets and talk to the prostitutes and look at the prostitutes as the treasures being brought out of the darkness. And so
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So when like for treasures, the name treasures, that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Because I really believe within each and every one of us, there's treasure, but like life circumstances has just covered it over. And sometimes it's been just covered over because, like I said, my nan and my mum were prostitutes. I don't know how far back that went.
Yeah.
So generation, the stuff being passed down, and you just don't know who you are.
And things are always passed down to us. Like, it's crazy because I always say to like people in prison, it's just such a simple game of the do nothing game. And it's basically just like watching somebody and doing nothing, basically. But if that person starts scratching or fidgeting, you have to copy them, right? And as children, we're kind of like in this family, and you know, something small as like a cigarette. If your mom's smoking cigarettes and you're watching her smoke cigarettes, having a glass of wine with dinner, you know, it becomes a normality. So it's not that it's like you're forced to do it, but because you've seen it growing up, it's the normality.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that people don't understand that these are the journeys that we have to either kind of overcome or even just choose to do different to what we've seen growing up. So I love that.
Absolutely, like the patterns, the endless loop.
Yeah.
You know, if something's not brought in to change that, nothing's going to change.
Nothing's
just
gonna
going to
change.
continue doing the same.
And treasures out of darkness. I'd never even thought of it like that in that aspect because I'll be honest, right? Like, obviously, before I went to jail, like, I literally was probably the most judgmental person you'll ever know. Like, why did you go to jail? You keep going to jail. Why? Is it fun? Is it, you know, I was that person. But then also, you know, growing up in like certain areas, like passing Streatham Road, like Streatham Hill, where there's like loads of prostitutes, and, you know, Plumstead, where there was loads, even now, like Plumstead Corner. And I remember like seeing these women and really kind of like being very judgmental towards them. And also like, you know, my mum going, oh God, that's the prostitute lady, or that's all you know. You don't ever think there's a reason why they're here. You don't ever think they might actually not want to be here. Do you know what I mean? So like, I want people to kind of like listen to this and listen to why Treasures was created, because even you going back and visiting those same women on the streets, knowing full well that like once upon a time you had that history, had that past. It's something that I feel like all of us should be doing, just understanding each other as humans. But I want people to understand it from your side, because I can only speak about it in regards to what I've learned and what I've gained from knowing people like you, knowing the work that you do and being in prison. But I want people to understand why something like Treasures Foundation should exist and should be supported.
Well, for me, like Treasures, like is finding your voice. You know, finding like the women, like Treasures, like the women come in and maybe it could be a year. This is real, a year before they'll get undressed and go to bed. Right, the houses are small houses, like we've got 3 houses with 3 bedrooms in each house that are all like more or less joined together. But because it's it's small, you can pick up on everything. So if somebody's not getting undressed, you're aware of that. If somebody's wearing their boots in bed, why they're wearing their boots in bed so that they can run if the abuser comes through the door. You know, I mean, like in a big prison setting or a big system, you don't see that. In a small setting. And what I noticed was, and for myself as well, a loving, caring environment. We didn't trust that because that's where the abuse started. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Absolutely. But in a system like prison or any institution, we could trust that more. I could get on with the prison, could get on with an institution, but a loving home, hang on. What's going on?
Yeah.
Even when I went to the church, I thought, why are they talking to me?
Yeah, like what do you people
want?
being nice to you?
Yeah,
like,
what are you after? You know, so that's like Treasures. So the women come in and they get trauma therapy. We have a day program that runs through there. We don't have any set time.
Okay.
So the women are there for, it's not like, oh, you've got 6 weeks or you've got 12 weeks. Ridiculous. You know, it's abstinent based. So you come in, you've got to be willing to be abstinent.
Yeah.
I mean, like the what I find interesting is like the misdiagnosis that a lot of people get with their mental health that have been diagnosed while they're being on drugs or something. So they come into Treasures and get a proper assessment, and those that need medication have their medication. You know, it's a place where you you get grounded. You know, we've got girls, right? We've got girls that just done level 3 in counselling. We've got one at uni at the minute, and we've got another one going to uni. Now, these are girls coming from the street, right? These are girls, and this is what's so beautiful in the right environment where, I mean, like, where you can thrive and grow, and you feel safe, supposed to be yourself.
Yeah. Because you're allowed to be yourself.
Yeah, where you're allowed to be yourself. Because, like I said, this world is just so restricted. You have to conform to some pattern.
Yeah.
But in here, like, we meet the women in Treasures. We meet them where they're at, and we work with them. You know, we've got a caravan so that they can go, take their kids away weekends.
That is beautiful.
We've got all that. We've got move-on flats. And the thing is, right, the move-on flats, this lady just heard a podcast and she said, oh, I want to buy a house. And, you know, and I'm thinking, who's this nutter? That's what I thought. Who's this nutter, right? And anyway, so I met up with her and I said, I don't need houses, I need flats for move-on. So the lady put 2 million and bought 4 flats. There's no contract. She's just given us the keys. There's no written paperwork or anything. And she's just given us the keys. And this seems to be what's happened with Treasures.
Yeah.
You know, we're just in the process of starting the detox, and the man gifted us 8 one-bedroom container flats, fully equipped. Fully equipped. So we're but the land can only take 6.
Okay.
So we're going to have 5 detox spaces for women coming from the street, you know, and just like, it's going to be tough, but I love it. I love seeing the little bend and the little change and the little spark that comes to the bit of life.
My thing is, you're doing
being.
all of this, Mandy, and what's crazy is, like, there are local councils and organisations that are here. They have a duty to support these same women that you're supporting, and that's not happening. And you're doing this. One lady who basically is like been through so much and has set up something. Even when you're talking about the length of time the women can stay there, because me and you know, when you're on probation, it's like you got 6 months, a year. After that year, ain't nobody checking for you. Like, nobody's coming to say, hey, did your housing get sorted? Oh, did your benefit get sorted? Nobody's doing that.
Yeah, they just cut you off.
It's just a cut off.
Yeah.
I just really want people to understand. And also, if you've got some more houses for us people, please do get at us and let us know. You know, we're here. So Mandy's right here. But in your, like, for you, why do you think this was needed? Like, why do you think that when you, like, set this up and the way, even knowing that 6 months is not a long enough time, 2 weeks is not a long enough time, why do you think that this is actually needed?
It's needed because it takes time for somebody to feel safe, for the real them to come out. It's like, even like eating disorders, like bulimia. We've had a lady that was vomiting in a bag and hiding it in a wardrobe, right? But we call it success. Vomit in the toilet. Use a toilet to vomit in. You don't have to hide it. Vomit in the toilet. When we have our morning meeting, come down and say, I vomited last night, or I watched porn last night. You know, because we say that the secrets keep you sick and they grow in the dark, which they have.
The secrets
grown in the dark.
And they grow in the dark.
Because, like, all the secrets we had to keep as children grew in the dark and manifested in a negative way. Yeah. So the more we speak our secrets and bring them out into the light, the less power they have over us. Yeah. You know, so it's important. It's important that a woman finds her voice and learns the understanding of why they've done, like for me, sexual abuse from a young age. You know what? I had to ask my sister, now, the sexual trauma stuff, I had to ask my sister, did I abuse you as a child? Because my mum, they used to put, I've got a white sister, and my sister said they used to like one black, one white. Right, so, you know, I had to ask her, and what a thing I had to ask. Yeah. Who wants to even ask that? I had to ask her, and what I realised, what my biggest fear was, I thought my fear was being an alcoholic like my mum, my biggest fear was being a paedophile. That was my biggest fear because that's where I'm coming from, down the line. Do you know what I mean? And even to accept that is even possible is massive. It's massive. But I can speak this out because that's my story. That's what I thought I was, and that's what was imprisoning me. Yeah, that was eating away at me, and not even know what was eating away at me. You know, insane. Yeah, it is insane. It is insane. It's like, you know, because I was in and out of Holloway over the 20 years that I was using drugs, but I ended up working in Holloway prison, right? In the same prison that I was in and out of, working in there and running groups within Holloway. And there was like, and we could reach the women. We could reach the women, certain women that had behaviours on the landings. Yeah. When their story came out, like women that have been locked in a cupboard and brought out for abuse. Yeah. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. Women that have had a chain like a dog and brought out like a dog. This stuff is a deep level stuff. Why wouldn't you behave differently? Yeah, exactly. If your life from start has been impacted in such I can't even say a word for it. You know, why wouldn't you be different or behaving different?
You're treated like an animal your whole life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And how do you then turn around to behave like a normal, what people perceive as a normal human being?
And that's what Treasures is about, relearning how to live. You know, relearning how to live. The women can have trauma therapy for as long as it takes. That's another thing. Yeah. We get the funding for their therapy. We help them with Mood On, voluntary, call it whatever it is. We do the domestic violence, the freedom program, the mental health groups. We do a step group. We do whatever it takes.
The Unchained Voices podcast is funded by Baobab. And if you want to get involved or sponsor us in any way and help us grow, you can get in touch. info@unchained.org.uk. Thank you. And you know what? Like, I kind of want to go back a little bit on the wearing the boots in the bed situation, because I feel like when people hear about women in the criminal justice system, they just think, oh, God, another woman's committed a crime. Like, why is she just not out being a mother, a wife, cooking? You know, like, that's not all we are. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that those kind of like, this is what a woman should be, right? They don't ever think, you know, this is a woman that's come from abuse. This is a woman that's been, you know, I think there's a time when me and you had a conversation when we was in Holloway, looking around. And I think you showed me a particular unit which housed a group of women who needed that support. And obviously when Holloway closed down, I think it's actually you told me when Holloway closed down, these women had to move on. And there's no other prison like Holloway that would have had the capacity to look after those women. Yeah. Like, I want you to kind of talk about that a little bit, because I think what's interesting is like, these are things that I learned through my prison experience and through the work I do today. But I think the general public tends to just think that all these women are just like nutters that just like, oh, but they must love it in there and they must, you know, for a woman to feel safe in prison and not in the community, we have a big issue here. We have a massive issue, because these are women who are mothers, you know, who are then going to leave their children in order for them to feel safe. And then the children are left to be looked after by the care system, a care system that we know, unfortunately, doesn't necessarily care for all children. And I want people to understand that, but I want you to tell this story about what the importance of these women, like how these women are coming from those backgrounds and somehow expected to go back into the community and like be like, oh, it's okay, you know, well done, you're free now, free at last, go be a normal person, be a mum.
It's unrealistic. It's just setting people up to fail. I remember going to work once to Holloway when Holloway was there, and one of my clients, when she was in Holloway, she was one of my clients. She was asleep on a bench, and I was really happy to see that she was alive, for one. And I was going to wake her up, and I thought, don't. Right now, she's probably in some lovely dream. Yeah. Because when she wakes up, that's when her nightmare starts. Do you know what I mean? When you're awake, that's when the night, and that's how it's felt like. I mean, like, when you're so shut down and you've learned how to manage work your way through life.
Yeah.
You know, just being present and just learning like normal things,
Yeah.
and seeing, smelling like flowers, and because you're that shut down from everything because of the fear, I guess. So it's really, I don't think people understand at all about the women. Like we know, like in the prison, women cutting their wrists, women wanting to hang, wanting to kill themselves, so that is the trauma, the hidden harm, internal, that's hidden. All people are seeing is what they've done on the outside. They've robbed this, they've done this, but what's going on? Why does one keep doing this? What is behind? And you know what the joke is, right? Because I'm coming from social services as a kid.
Yeah.
They knew.
They knew all of this information.
Do you know what? They probably looked at me and knew, oh, she's going to be in prison.
Yeah.
Right from...
Because of the history.
Cute little baby. Yeah, right from being a little baby, oh, that one's going there, that one's going there, that one's going there. There's no, like, intervention.
They made a decision on your life already as a child.
Yeah, it's already been made. It's already been made. And that's, it really, really frustrates me, the system that we live in. It's there and it's powerful, and we can just like do our bit. It's yeah.
I hope you guys are listening, because honestly, I feel like each time I speak to you, Mandy, I always learn something even deeper that I need to know, but not only just me, like everybody needs to know this stuff. Obviously, I found out about women's centres like years after coming out of jail, and I remember like National Prison Radio going, oh, we want you to do a women's centre tour, and I was like, what's a women's centre? And a lot of people might not know what that is, so I kind of wanted you to talk about it and why we need more of those kind of places for women, so that we can kind of like explore the need for these women to get that help. Like, what is a women's centre? What is a women's only space look like?
Yeah, so it's got all the resources for a woman. So everything is like under one roof.
Yeah.
Because like you think like, I'm just thinking of myself, like coming out of prison and having to go to that person there in that area, that person in this area, this person. So all the support is under one roof. There's support there for the children. There's all kinds of support groups and different services.
Yeah.
Within the women's centre, and really we're working for women. You know what's sad though about Holloway? Sorry, I'm going to switch over in a minute. So Holloway, right. I remember the activists, close Holloway, and I've said, and what are they going to do after that? Where do we go? Where do we go after that? Do you know what I mean? And then what? So they're meant to be doing a women's building in a women's centre
in the Holloway,
on the Holloway site, right? And it's Peabody and the council. But the setup is, the running cost is $300,000 a year for charities, for the people that want to help the
people
women,
like us
that want to help people within this women's centre. I've got to
just thinking how much funding I have to apply for to be able to get in there.
30 grand a month for each.
30 grand a month, please, guys.
But it's unrealistic. So again, it's just been set up to fail.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. What I don't get is, right, the government, they're talking about women's centres.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Something alternative
to prison.
To prison.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's this site that is being built.
Yep.
Right. But you know what? Right. And nobody's saying anything. Do you know what I mean? It's just being built. But the thing is, apparently there's a clause that if it's not being used, then the council takes it back.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a clause, and that's what I think. That's what I believe they want to see happen, because, you know.
So if the council takes it back,
I don't know what they're going to use it for, but they don't want it for women's. They don't want it for us.
Fancy flats.
Yeah, I don't know, but they don't.
I mean, we could see the flats when we was in jail, like.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they're just like setting up people to fail. you know.
It's like they have all these conversations year after year. You know, we've had so many different like reports, female offender strategy, courses and report. We've had all of these reports. And every single time they come out, it's like they give us this bit of hope that something might happen, and then it just gets taken back.
It's not real.
So how do we make more noise about this? Like, because people need to know how to support us. Like, I feel like we've been waving the ex-offender women rights kind of like flag forever. Like, what do we do, Mandy?
Yeah, I think it's about women coming together.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, a lot of the bigger organisations are caught up in the criminal justice, so they haven't got freedom of speech for one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's limited to what you can say.
Absolutely, because they're getting funding. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and that's something Treasures won't take.
Yeah.
We don't, we don't want to be shut down with our voices.
That's why
I've just
we're
found
Unchained
it.
Voices.
I've only just found it. You just shut it down.
Only just found it. Imagine.
Now you want to shut it down.
Now you want to shut me down? Like, what legacy I'm leaving for the rest of the women? Like, all I'm saying to women is like, all right, speak a little bit. And then if you get a little bit of funding, don't say too much because you'll lose that.
Yeah.
So how do we continue building and growing and supporting the women that need this support?
I think we just got to just keep shouting and connecting, working together.
Working together.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love the fact that, like, it's really weird because I always say this and people think I'm just like weird or whatever. But like, I feel like the most connections I've had with women was when I was in prison, because I grew up with a bag of guys, man. Like, obviously I've got sisters, like, and those were my sisters are different. It's like, those are my sisters. We grew up in the same house. But like with girls and women, like, I always find it like a little bit difficult to be a part of them. But in Holloway and in prison, I was surrounded by women like everywhere. And it was crazy because I was so afraid of these women. Like, there was something in me that was like, no, they're gonna, like, you know, when you was thinking about what they want from me, why they're being so nice. Like, I had this fear, but actually slowly in my sentence, I realized that these women are mothers, these women are sisters, these women are daughters, and these women looked out for me. They showed me things like how to get from A to B in a prison, because, you know, no one don't tell you this. But what I found was that connection and that love of unity and sisterhood, I found it mostly in the prison system. So how do we get that unity out here in the community? Because I feel like there's a lot of us doing incredible work, but we're just not working together. And
that's it. That's it. I mean, like Treasures has been going on for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And when I did start it, it was all about Treasures, but I've gone beyond that now.
Yeah.
It is all about women. So it's not all about Treasures as a charity.
Yeah.
It's about, I don't care who does it as long as it gets done.
Yeah.
I don't care whose name is in lights or up there.
Yeah.
As long as it gets done. I've gone past like just Treasures. It can't be. I mean, like if you're so passionate about it, it goes beyond a name.
Yeah.
It's bigger than a name.
Yeah.
It's bigger than us.
I love that.
It's bigger than us. So if it's bigger than us, then it's going to take all of us to come together and not thinking about your own charity all the time. You know?
And I think that's the thing. Like, that is it. Because if you start something and it's all about you being in the spotlight and you getting this kind of fame, and you forget about the people that's important.
Absolutely.
The people that you set up to support are now getting left behind. Because guess what? I'm in the spotlight now and I'm over here and I'm shining.
Yeah.
But actually, one thing that I always say is, well, like, I've been asked this question many times in regards to success and what it looks like for Unchained. And for me, success is my artists growing, getting paid to do the work they do, you know, getting arts to be in interviews, getting arts to be flown out. That for me is success, because if the artists I'm supporting are not growing past the point where I met them, then what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, don't put me on no camera thing, because guess what? You're going to see my artist and he's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm back in jail again. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? It didn't work. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've got artists that's like, yeah, I'm a nerd now. Like, and I'm like, no, you was always a nerd.
Yeah.
It just wasn't, nobody ever saw that in you or even allowed you to be a nerd. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, success for me, and I guess even for like Treasures, is us actually being able to continue to support the women, the men, the children that we are supporting. Because in supporting those women, if they can do better and have a better life, their children are going to have better lives. I love the caravan thing because, you know, like when you're like in school and like you've got like people that are like, I'm going on holiday and I'm going here. And then you've got the kids that don't have that. They don't have that. Like they can't say to their friends, oh, me and my mum went away on a caravan. Do you get it? Because they can't. Their mum can't afford to do that. So those are the kind of like lead ups to, okay, well, I am not like the rest of the children because they will go on holiday. And my holiday is going to see my mum in prison. Do you know what I mean? It's
Absolutely,
like there's these conversations that I feel like they're so small but need to happen even more.
Absolutely, and it doesn't cost. It's not massive.
It's not massive. I say this all the time. It's like it doesn't cost anything to be nice, to be polite, and to care for other people. It doesn't cost you nothing.
No.
Like, okay, the people that are giving us some money, we appreciate you. By the way, we do appreciate you. But to be nice to people, to help people, doesn't cost nothing. I hate Christmas. I love it in regards to being family, but the lead up to Christmas, the advertisements that they put up and the Christmas presents under the tree,
It's not real.
it's not real because we know that there's children right now that can't go home and see a Christmas tree with presents underneath it because their mum just doesn't have the money. And then you kind of hear the women who, because it's Christmas, now I'm going to have to steal so that my kids have a little bit of comfort during Christmas. Just so that they feel like the rest of the world. It's
upside down, isn't it?
It's upside down, inside out. Like it's a mess. It's a mess. And it's just two little ladies here talking about this. Like, this is great that we're having these conversations. Thank you for listening. But I want us to have these conversations continuously so people know that there are women coming out of prisons that are doing this amazing work, but also that there are still women in prison right now that need us to continue the work that we're doing, and we can't do that on our own. We need the community, we need society to understand, we need the media to tell the right stories, please. We just need more conversations. And so I have to ask you, like, you know, if there's something that you would like our listeners, our viewers, society, you know, because in the media we hear a lot of stuff about what it's like to be a woman in prison or, you know, where these women come from and, you know, their background and why they committed these crimes and why they enjoy jail.
Yeah, but it's the media gives you what they think the people want to hear. Do you know what I mean? Because I've spoken to newspapers and they've just brought out one point and made it like that is me.
That's the
whole of
that's
me.
The main, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know they just bring out, but there's many parts of us. Do you know what I mean? That needs to be unearthed, uncovered, and you know we've got many gifts. Where do you know what's sad as well? Right, with the Holloway building, I'm just going back to that again. Right. I've been on meetings. This is really sad. Right, I've been on meetings where there's other women's services.
Yeah.
Right, that do not want their women mixing with anybody with criminal justice. And that is coming from women. We don't want our women mixing with criminal justice women.
And why do you think that is?
I think they're scared that we get well and overtake them. Because like we're gifted. From once we find our voice, we're loud.
Yeah, very loud.
Do you know what I mean? We want to, you know.
Because we've been silenced for so long.
Yeah, but honestly, there's a lot of...
That's crazy.
Very, very much so. Very much so. We don't want our women mixing with them. I said to the lady, I said, if you cut me, I bleed the same as you.
Same.
You know, and so within the women... It's for women. It's not just women that have been to prison that have got issues. Women are walking around locked up, silently suffering internally in their own internal prison where they can't talk about stuff or, you know, haven't been in a space where they can talk or share or be open about stuff, keeping their own little secrets in. It's not just people that go to prison that have been sexually abused, that have domestic violence. Do you know what I mean? That's had all that have got eating disorders, that have got different mental health, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's people in the community too.
And I feel
it's
like
women in the community as well.
I don't understand how people don't recognize this though, because I feel like it's hard to say, but like really and truly, when we think about the Me Too movement, right, it's not just women in prison that can say that they've been abused. We've got women in the community who are still dealing with the fact that they were abused. Okay, some of them might have a little bit more kind of like in regards to like their upbringing is different, so they might be able to turn to somebody and speak to somebody who might guide them. But if you think about some of the women who don't have that, then yeah, those are possibly the women that end up in jail. But the reality of it is that a lot of women have been through some kind of sexual abuse,
trauma,
abuse from a partner, and I need to make it clear that like abuse from a partner doesn't actually, it doesn't always mean physical abuse. We're talking mental abuse, manipulation, coercive control is something that's recently come into the community and people are talking about it now, but that's been happening for years.
Generations.
And
it's not a new thing.
It's not a new thing, but all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, look guys, coercive control. This is something that women who haven't even been to jail are going through right now.
Yeah.
But those women are in that place where it's like, actually, we don't talk about that. That's those secrets that we keep it in. We put on our face, put on our makeup, do our hair, get ready and go out and present ourselves to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Not knowing that deep down, we've got these issues that are cutting us deeply inside.
Absolutely.
But we're not speaking about them.
Yeah.
So again, it goes down to how do we get women to come together? Because that whole comment of we don't want our women to mix with those women is insane.
It's very much out there. I know, that's what I thought. But it's very, and this is what we're facing, with women working together. You've got women against each other. No, it's serious. It's serious.
It's bad because I say this all the time and I'm like, like in jail, like that's probably the one time that I felt like I was just close to all the women, like, and then you get out here and it's like, it's even just a simple, like, you look nice. I would say you look nice to a stranger. And sometimes they do think, oh, like, what? Why be nice to me? But it's the same way if someone was nice to me, I'll be like, you're right, thanks, thank you. You want to keep it moving. But if we can just start them general conversations, just to understand how similar we are, not even like, if we start looking at the differences, that's insane. But if we look at how similar we are, literally that whole that cut me, I bleed the same colour as you. Like when you cut me up, my blood's not green or orange or a different colour. I'm going to be the same way as you. So what is it that is preventing us from having these, just a normal conversation?
I think for people that have come through the system or awaken up to who they are, do find their voices and are getting a lot more louder in speaking out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Much, but there's still something that just wants to keep us there. There's like an invisible something where you just can come up, but you can't
pass it.
You can't pass it. There's just something.
That's a barrier. Just
there's something
every time you get.
There's something, and it goes all the way up into like government. Even like I don't know much about politics and that, but I do know that. I believe that the people that are in leadership, that they're just being governed. Do you know what I mean? Because half the time they don't know what they're talking about. So they're obviously reading a script from somebody else.
Yeah, because we're stats. We're just
do you know
numbers.
what I mean? So it's not... And I do know that people do the script writing for them.
Yeah.
So that, you know what I mean?
Prepared.
So they're completely not connected to reality. So whoever, I don't know, whatever.
I hate that as well because I always say, like, stop giving us the stats and stuff. Like, we are right here. We are not a case study. We're not a scenario. We're here. We're human beings. We're people who have lived. Come and speak to us. Have a conversation with us. Speak to the people we work with. And then maybe you can take that information, but you keep taking this past information from like, I don't know, this person and that person, but we're all different.
Absolutely, it's not a true figure.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's not real. It's not true stats. It's not.
I hate stats. I can't.
Yeah, it's not. What makes me laugh is the amount of money that is poured in to getting these stats. Yes.
The research money.
There's a lot of money.
And who are they researching?
There's a lot of money in that. There's a lot of funding for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in it.
But to help a woman and child be brought back together, it's hard to get the funding. It's hard to get the money. It's hard to get funding for like therapy for women. They might want to give you therapy for 6 or 10 weeks or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But
trust
do
me, that after the 10
to do
weeks-
the research of how many women need therapy, we'll give you that. We'll
And
give
my
you
thing is,
loads.
after they do all this research that we know they do continuously, what happens? Because we ain't seen the change.
No.
Because I've
don't get it.
sat in research meetings. I've sat in them. Like, what then happens?
I don't know. Do you think people get addicted to their meetings?
I think so.
Because when I go to them, when I'm in one of the meetings, I just have to get up and come out because I get so vexed. I get mad thinking, what is this? It's just talk.
Like, and also, you've sat in the meeting so many times, and you're like, this is the same thing
you know what I
that we
mean?
spoke about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I just
Like,
get up and walk out thinking I'm not listening to this rubbish.
doesn't make sense.
You know, it's like just meeting after meeting after meeting about what? Do you know what I mean? It's evident, you know, that this is not new problems.
No.
You know, like domestic violence, sexual abuse, you know, poverty, you know, children going into care is
Yeah.
not a new
It's not new.
thing.
It's not a new thing.
You know,
How
but
long are you going to research it for?
exactly.
The research is in the streets. You can see the young, like, do you get it? It's
Exactly.
in the streets. You don't need to be paying all that money. Get that money,
Yeah.
invest it into like the houses. Let's get the actual support.
Absolutely.
Let's get therapy for longer than 10 weeks.
Absolutely, and the right houses as well.
And the right houses.
Come on, I've seen people like I've had family members like go into supported housing. Right, they've gone into the supported housing, which, by the way, is a crack house. Right, there's no bedding, there's no hot water. There's no, I mean, like, there's nothing in there. So they're coming out of prison into a complete empty room that's running with crack. There's, you know what I mean, crack dealing on the premises. But there's no bedding, there's no curtains, there's no light bulb. And this, I've witnessed this. I've witnessed this. So you've got people coming out to nothing. And even like in the newspapers, they talk about people coming out and giving them a tent.
Oh my
Right?
God,
Yeah. And people wonder why they go back to prison.
Yeah.
You know, people coming out that got nowhere to live.
That
You
tent
know,
situation is crazy.
You know, people coming out mental health, not medicated, not
Yeah, because if you
diagnosed.
don't have a home, you can't sign up to go to a GP, you can't. If you don't have an address, you just can't do anything. Do you understand? So it's like, why people don't recognize that this is a whole issue. Like, it's a whole. You need to give me somewhere to live, because guess what? When I go to the GP and be like, oh yeah, my address is thingy train station in a tent, where am I going to send you your post? Do you understand? It's like, then I can't get help.
And
if
you
I've
know
got...
what you've said, what you just said is just very real. You know what I mean? People in the park, you know what I mean? In a parking plot somewhere.
And I've
car
seen
park
so
somewhere. It's
many
just so-
tents as well
Yeah.
recently, and it's crazy because when I found out about the tent situation, I was like, this has to be a joke. And then you speak to the people that are like, yeah, I got released. They gave me a tent. You've got women who get released, and there are, not all of you men, but they are men who are waiting outside the
Absolutely.
prison for these women who are getting released so that they can offer them a little bit of money or whatever, so they can sell themselves, get them hooked on back onto drugs. These are all things that happen that we are aware about, but the general public somehow seems to
Right.
play blind and deaf.
And people wonder why people come back to prison. Do you know what I mean? There's no continuous through care of anything like what we was talking about. Right, your probation's ended, bong,
That's
move
it.
on.
Move on.
Right, no, that's not my remit.
Yep.
Move on. You know, and that's why like women's centres where everything is under one roof. You know, where you can just where there's a steady flow. Like if somebody's got whatever issues, it's in the building.
It's in one
And
place.
send you to there. Send you to there.
Yeah.
Send you to there.
Because I remember meeting some incredible women in the women's centres, and, you know, not all of them have been to prison. Some of them are coming from domestic violence. And I remember one lady in particular having to, like, she won't take the same route to the centre because she has an abusive partner and he's still active. And so in order for her to keep safe, just to come to get the support that she needs to see, to see, you know, probation, whoever, she has to come take different
Certain
routes,
routes.
different stations, like sometimes have to walk a little bit further just to get to the space because her partner is looking for her.
Yeah.
You know, there's people who have not left their houses for 6 months, you know, and they need to be supported to get to the centre, because if they don't get to the centre, they won't get the support they need. But because they are part of that centre, someone knows and
Will
is aware
support
of
them.
their issues, right? Whereas if
Absolutely.
they don't have that, you've got an appointment at the job centre, you've got an appointment at the thingy, you've got, you know, you can't leave your house. And they're like, oh, well, you didn't come to your appointment. Oh, well, you know, you're
And you're written off.
written off.
Yeah.
And then that person's back
In
jail.
Yeah.
So obviously, Mandy, like, I can talk to you for the whole day if I could. But I want you to leave us with one like myth buster, like something that you think the general public needs to know, or you want to break that cycle in regards to, like, you know, they say prison is a walk in a park. They get 3 meals a day and they are like, look at them. They have like TVs. We still pay TV license for those TVs, by the way, just so you know. Comes out, we got no choice. What's one thing that you want the general public to know about the criminal justice system?
I mean, just what you just said, like people coming out. Like women in Holloway have come out during maybe coming up to Christmas and deliberately gone and robbed something to go back into a prison. And like we know in prison, you know, you are controlled. You can't just go and cook when you want to cook. Your liberty is taken away. So to want to go back into that place as a safe environment is really saying a lot to what is out in the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For people, you know, to want to go back in to feel safe. You know, our communities needs to be made more safe.
Yeah. We need safer communities, guys. Mandy, thank you so much.
Unchained is a community interest company, which means that the work that we do in large part is funded by donations, whether that's grants, sponsorships, partnerships, or other kinds of charitable contributions.
The funding helps us manage artists, pay them for their time, travel, hire venues, you know, making sure that each artist can have that moment to have a one-to-one with another artist that they might be a mentor to, but also helping us to continue doing the work we do, whether that's going into prisons, working in the community, working in a Peru or school. All the funding is needed in order for us to complete that work and make it as incredible and as supportive as it can be.
Please visit unchained.org.uk/donations and help us continue to do the work that we do. Thank you very much.